Hello and welcome to this virtual mat class on behalf of Pilates Plus London. It's great that you can all join us today. So we're going to do around 20 to 25 minutes of some sort of favourite Pilates exercises. My name is Claire. I'm joined here today by lots of team members from Pilates Plus. So we've got Juliet, we've got Carla, we've got Jane, we've got Leslie, and we've got Galina, who is the founder of Pilates Plus. So yeah, welcome. And just a couple of little things. Obviously, we'll go through these exercises, but please only attempt them if you feel well today. And please just be very mindful that if anything is hurting or feeling uncomfortable at all at any point, please do stop. So a couple of things we just need to get started. We're going to be starting lying down on our backs with our knees folded, as you can see from all my colleagues lying down. A couple of things that could be quite useful. You need a nice soft surface to lie on, so I've just got a rug here. So something nice and padded underneath you. A small towel, or perhaps a cushion that you can put under your head would be very useful. I've also got a long scarf here. We're going to do one exercise. My fellow teachers will not have this, so we'll do a version with and without. But if that's something you do have access to, that would be very useful. So as I say, we're starting lying down on our backs and just really sort of letting ourselves settle into the floor. Now, we sort of want to feel nice and heavy through the sort of main points of reference at the back of the body. So the back of the head, perhaps you can give that a little roll, and the back of the shoulders. So perhaps you can give those a little shake side to side. We've got the back of the pelvis, which feels heavy and connected. And we've also got the feet, which is just in parallel and hip distance apart. So you might feel comfortable having a little towel underneath your head. You can see some of the teachers have got towels under their head, just to make themselves feel comfortable as we sort of assess how the body's feeling and start our focus with the breath. So what I'd like you to do is perhaps come and place one hand on top of your chest bone and going up towards the collarbones. So perhaps you can see here. And the other hand is just going to be over the bottom parts of your belly, down towards the bottom of the pelvic bowl. And we're going to take a few really nice, long, deep, luxurious inhales here. Breathing in through the nostrils and breathing out through either an open mouth or just soft and heavy through the back of the throat. Just for these first couple of breaths, we're just kind of trying to assess where this breath is sort of going. We're breathing in. The air is coming in, as I say, either through the nostrils or through the mouth, into the back of the throat. And you're just feeling how far that expansion goes down into the body. So with the next few inhales and exhales, which are nice and long and slow, perhaps you can count for 3 or 4 seconds for each one, and just try and have them, as I say, nice and flowing and easy. And we're just going to see if you can start to get that inhale a little bit further down into your trunk. So as you expand the body with your inhale, you're just seeing if that sense of inflation can start to kind of travel down the body. Perhaps it can go along the spine as you're breathing in, down towards that hand that is on the belly. So we're just going to keep going here. That's it. So lovely smooth breaths. And if you are noticing any places around the back of the body where it feels a little bit tighter, you're just registering a sensation. Just really sort of focus your out breath on just trying to find some softness and release through that area. So almost treating that breathing out phase as a little bit of an internal massage as you go along. Okay, wonderful. So we're going to carry on with breathing just for a moment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to come and bring your hands now up to the top of the rib cage. So I've got my fingers, let me just come and show you. So I've got my thumbs just underneath my armpits, and I've got my fingertips just touching the collarbones here. And as we're breathing in now, I'd just like you to notice how, as you breathe in, how the chest rises up, and you might feel a little movement underneath your fingers as your long collarbones sort of roll round and up towards the ceiling. and then how that rib cage drops away again. So we're just going to just experiment with this for a breath or two. And as you're filling yourself with air, as you breathe in, you might start to notice that there's a little bit of movement at the back of the pelvis. If that is happening, just let that happen and just explore this sense of movement. So as you breathe in and the chest rises up, you might start to feel a little bit of air and space underneath the lumbar spine, just as the pelvis is sort of tipping, your pubic bone is tipping down towards the floor. And then as you breathe in and the ribs settle back down, how that pelvis just rolls back ever so slightly. So it's a very small movement that's being facilitated by the breath here. So we'll just breathe for a couple more moments, just sort of exploring this sort of particular way of breathing. And then if you want to come and settle your hands around the rib cage. Now you can either have, thumbs towards the back of the body, if that's possible, and we're sort of down towards the bottom of the rib cage area. And as we breathe in now, I just want you to see how far you can send those ribs out left and right. So your rib cage is going to expand into the hands with the inhale. And then as you breathe out, you can sort of feel the ribs sort of settling in and away from the hands back towards the spine. And really with every breath, trying to increase that sense of width. And see if we can kind of breathe equally into the left rib and the right side of the ribs. And perhaps you can keep that sense of width and openness coming. So if you want to do one last little hand variation, and that is come and bring your hands a little lower. Now I've changed the orientation of my hands. I've now got fingers behind, so just above the sort of natural waist area, and thumbs are now sort of on the sides of the waist. And we're going to take a couple of breaths in here, just really sort of trying to breathe into the side of the body. And then exhaling and letting everything sink and soften. So that's the belly is softening, the ribs are softening. Couple more here. Just feeling how perhaps you can get that breath, that sense of expansion all the way in to the lower part of the spine. And let's make this the last one before we move on. Wonderful. So if you just come and settle the body, see how everything's feeling. We're going to come on to a leg lifting exercise. So this is the point at which, if you do have a scarf, that if you did have something long to hand, you can use it. As you can see, my fellow teachers do not have one of these. So whether you had a scarf or not, we're going to kind of send the weight down into our right leg to come and lift left leg up into a tabletop position. So it's folded in towards the body. So I put this long, loose sort of scarf around my foot. But what we're going to do is, as we breathe out, we're going to very slowly to start to let this thigh bone, so the thigh bone is feeling very sort of heavy in the back of the hip socket. I want you to almost imagine if there's a little sort of magic strings coming from the ceiling that are going to lift the foot and the calf. So the foot and the calf are going to feel very light as the thigh bone feels heavy. And you'll just start folding a little around the back of the knee and then coming back in. So we're going to explore this movement, just opening and closing nice and slowly. The benefit of having a scarf just means you get a little bit more sort of feedback as to what's going on in some of the joints as we're slowly folding in and out. But it's this sense of heaviness that I'm really trying to encourage. So with each time the thigh bone comes in with the inhale, it's just feeling that little bit heavier. And you can sort of observe that when you send the leg out slowly, how the thigh bone is turning out a little. So you're not going directly up towards the ceiling. That thigh bone is just rolling in and out to the side of the body slightly. Okay, so next time we've got the leg going up towards the ceiling with that nice bit of softness behind the knees, we'll turn this into a little bit more of a piston action. And if you don't have a scarf to help your foot, you're just going as far as you feel. You've got that heaviness in the thigh bone. That's what this exercise is all about, really. And that connection through the back of the pelvis. And the rest of the body, you're not really feeling anything going on in the back of the body. Everything's just free and comfortable. And we'll do a couple more here. Perhaps we can even speed up this sort of action so it feels a little bit more like a sort of rhythmical movement in and out. But as I say, the sense of heaviness in the thigh bone, long thigh bone in the back of the hip socket is what we're trying to achieve. Okay, so if you've got a scarf, we'll send the leg out long and do some circles. If you don't have a scarf, you're going to keep the knee bent and do some circles. If you've got the scarf, we'll come and do some circles at the top. So we're just guiding the foot around in space. And if you don't have that scarf, you're just going as far. We're trying to make a nice and smooth circular motion. So you're exploring the inside of the sort of circular shape of the hip socket. But if you don't have that scarf, you just can only go as far as you can keep that sense of heaviness. Then we'll go around in the opposite direction. And just notice going one way to the other if there's any differences one side to the other. So we're just stirring this long thigh bone around in the circular socket. Feeling heavy, heavy, heavy. Okay, so if you come and fold that leg in, I'm just going to remove the scarf for a second. We're going to send our legs out long. And just here, you're just going to see if you can observe any differences going on left to right. So see if you feel the leg that has just been up in the air. If there's any differences in the front of the hip area, your hip flexor, or any sort of differences in the feeling of the legs or length of legs. And we'll bring the legs back up and we'll come and repeat that on the other side. So we've got the leg in place, and then with the exhale, slowly starting to send this out. So opening up through the back of the knee, but keeping some nice space. It's a fold in the knee. And each time the leg comes in, just dropping that little bit further, feeling that little bit heavier. And keep going with this. So perhaps the leg is starting to climb higher towards the ceiling. As I say, the foot and the toes and the calf feeling lovely and heavy here. And the next time you come out, perhaps you can come up and be up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to do those leg circles. So whether you've got the scarf or you don't have it, we're just making some nice smooth circles. You're heavy through the back of the pelvis. Thigh bone is heavy and connected to the back of the hip socket. And we're stirring this long thigh bone all the way around, trying to make some smooth circular movements. And let's come in the opposite direction. Just one more. And then we can fold this leg in, come and bring the scarf down to the side. And if we just send legs out along and away again, let's just breathe here just for a moment. See how both legs feel. See if there's any differences. We tend to be quite different left to right because we use the body in quite a different way on the different sides. So we're just sort of seeing how everything feels in this position. Come and bring the legs back into hip distance and folded knees and feet sort of planted on the floor. So we're going to come into some bridging. So now that sense of heaviness within the legs is going to reverse. So I'd like you to feel that your feet are really heavy and connected into the floor, and the lower legs are quite heavy as you send the feet into the floor to allow the pelvis and the spine to come and float up. And you can take a breath in here at the top, and then we're going to come and float the spine back down. So there's many different ways that you can do this bridging movement. So we're going to make this flowing and continuous, just each time we peel up, sending the feet down into the floor, and the lower legs feel lovely and heavy too. So there's this lovely feeling of lightness within the trunk. So perhaps next time you're up in your bridge, we can just come up here and stay for a moment. So we're just going to take a few deep breaths. We're going to see if we can breathe into the sides of the body, into the sides of the ribs, and see if we can breathe into the back of the body. And what I'm looking for is a feeling of not really any tension going on in the sort of glute muscles or hamstrings or legs. You're not really holding any tension. If you're feeling any tension, perhaps in this sort of area or in the shoulders, you might just need to come and drop the height of your bridge a little. This is all feeling good. Then as we come down, I'd love to have this sense of almost like you're fluttering down like a leaf. So you're coming down, there's this real sense of lightness. When you come down to the bottom, you're letting the pelvis settle and feel heavy. So you've got that heavy connection of the thigh bones once again. And then we'll send that weight into the feet to let the back of the body float up. And we're going to keep going with this for a couple more movements. And just assessing how we can do this with really storing the sort of minimal amount of tension in the spine. And if you don't have any issues with the lower back, and if it feels comfortable to do so, you can really start to use the breath when you're up in your bridge to feel soft through the back of the throat, soften the chest bone, and see if you can come down bone by bone. So more of a sort of laying the spine down, vertebrae by vertebrae, and then peeling yourself up. So there's two ways of doing this. We can either float up and down with the spine in one unit, or we can do more of an articulating movement. So you just really need to check in with how you're feeling. As I say, if you have any sort of tightness or any issues in the bottom of your spine, then perhaps just stick with the floating up and floating down. So let's just do two more of these. And let's make this one the last one. Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to come, we can bring these up into the chest, just have a little roll across the back of the pelvis. And we're going to come on into a little chest lift. So we are going to come and bring our hands, we're going to make a little basket shape with our fingers. And we're going to interlace those fingers and pop them behind the head. So we've got the head comfortably cradled. If you've still got that cushion, you may well not need it by this point. You're just really using the cushion until you're feeling comfortable, but you definitely probably don't need it at this point. So we've got thumbs going down the back of the neck, and we've got our elbows where we can just sort of see them in our peripheral vision, and we've got the legs back down. So let's bring the legs back down to the floor, and we are going to feel those feet nice and heavy into the floor and the back of the pelvis. And the next time we breathe out, we're just going to see if we can, as the chest bone and the back of the throat soften, we're going to see if we can come and peel the head up just a little bit, so our gaze is coming to look between our knees. And then as we inhale, we're laying the spine back down. So we're just going to keep going with this. You're only lifting as far as you feel you've got some softness in the chest. So this is not a neck exercise. I don't want you to feel any tension here at all. If you're feeling any tension in your neck, then this one is probably not for you and not for today. So we're just going to keep going, seeing each time if we can peel up that little bit higher. And if you want to, next time we come and peel up, I'm going to send all the weight down into my left leg, so that when I start to peel up, the right leg is just going to float up towards the head as the head comes forwards. And I put that leg down as the head floats down, and then send the weight down into the right leg, and peel the left one up. And we're just really sort of feeling some of these connections. We're seeing by sort of sending this leg down to the floor, if we can feel some of the connections going on, the dialogue within the trunk muscles. And we'll just do a couple more here. And we'll make this one the last one. And then come and settle the head down. So again, we can bring the legs up into tabletop. Another very nice movement is just to do some little circles of the knees. So I've got each of my hands on my knees here. I'm just stirring these legs around in the hip sockets. So again, try to sort of have this sense of heaviness in the thigh bones as I stir the legs around. And if I lighten my hands a little, or even take them away, I can sort of feel how trunk muscles are moving, and you can hear this dialogue going on in the trunk. And we're sort of wanting to have that spot where we're really feeling these thigh bones are heavy. Then come around in the opposite direction. Just a couple of circles here, just to release off any tension that you might have in the lumbar spine, and everything just feeling very nice and relaxed at the back of the body. Okay, so if you come and settle the feet down, we're just going to now come up to a seated position. So you just come and roll onto your side and come and sit up. So we're going to come and do mermaid exercise. So this is somewhere where you might want your cushion or your towel again. So feet position. We can either just be cross-legged or we can have our feet in a diamond position. I just really want you to feel comfortable at the back of the body. So if you've got any issues with your lumbar spine, you may well feel happy sitting on a little cushion. And as you can see from some of my teaching colleagues, you can also come and sit with the legs in a sort of classic Pilates Z-sit position, but equally you're very welcome to have legs crossed or legs in a diamond shape. It's all really just about the spine being nice and comfortable. And in the seated position, so feel like your sitting bones are nice and wide. And then the spine is just really floating out the top. So if we can just breathe for a moment here, and just really seeing if we can just grow the crown of the head away from our bases of support, which are those sitting bones, sitting on the floor or the cushion. So we're going to come into a mermaid. So if you just come and pop your hand on top of your head. So we really want to kind of start to move the spine in a sort of sideways movement. So I'm just going to lift my elbow up towards the ceiling and send myself down. So we're just going to do a couple like this. So the other hand is coming down onto the floor. And we can send ourselves up and away. So the elbow's coming up. It's like this side of you. It's like someone's pulling the fabric of your shirt to get you a little bit longer. You're coming over with the inhale and then resetting with the exhale. And then you can bring your hands out wide. And we can come and repeat this. If this all feels good, you can use the surface that you're on to perhaps slide the arm out and slide it back. And the head is really just following the movement of the spine. And let's come into the center. Let's come and repeat on the other side. Just sense that we're going up. We've got that lovely connection with those sitting bones. This is getting longer as that elbow comes up towards the ceiling. Couple more here. And then we can come and take the arms out wide and see how it feels just to have the arms in this elongated position. So you can feel like you've got lots of energy through this little finger. I forgot to say that if you've got legs crossed, it's always quite good at some point to maybe challenge yourself and do this with the legs crossed in the other direction. But of course, it really just depends on which position you have set yourself up with. Okay, and we'll come back to the center. If we just come and finish, if we just come and loosely cross our arms in front of us. And as we breathe out, we're just going to see if we can come and just roll our ribs and our head around just a little. See if we can look over our right shoulder and then come around. And we're using our breath. So as we breathe out, we're seeing it's almost as though we're sort of wringing ourselves out of the air, a bit like water in a sponge. See if we can grow a little bit taller. And let's do one more to each side. So nothing's happening in terms of the pelvis, it's just staying nice and quiet, rolling those ribs around, and we'll come back to the center. And that's us finished for today. I hope you enjoyed these exercises. If you did, we have classes every day of the week. We'd love to hear your feedback to see what you think. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.